What if I told you that everything, and I mean everything, from the quantum fuzz of a particle to the grand sweep of a galaxy, all runs on a single universal code? We're about to dive into a radical new theory that says exactly that, a theory that just might unify all of science.
Just think about that for a second. What if the universe isn't a collection of separate, disconnected laws? What if it's more like a single song with a repeating chorus that shows up everywhere? That's the mind-bending idea we're exploring today.
So here's the big problem this theory is trying to tackle. Right now, science has what's called a scale disconnect. The rules that work for tiny quantum particles just fall apart when you get to our world, and those rules don't quite fit with the huge scales of the cosmos. It's like we have 3 different instruction manuals for one universe. They just don't talk to each other.
So how in the world do you start to bridge that gap? Well, you have to begin on solid ground. And the foundation for this whole idea is a simple but profound, scientifically proven fact: information isn't just an abstract concept, it's physically real. Now, this isn't just a wild idea, this is established, tested physics. It's called Landauer's principle. And what it says is that every single time you erase a piece of information, like flipping a 1 back to a 0 in your computer, it releases a tiny but measurable puff of heat. It's a real physical event. And that's the absolute key. Think about it. If getting rid of information has a real physical cost in energy, then information itself must be a real physical part of our universe, just as real as matter or energy.
This one solid principle is the launch pad for a brand new theory called informational physics. It's the work of Kevin L. Brown, an independent researcher, inventor, and author. And his theory takes that idea and runs with it, asking a huge question: if information is physical, what if it's the most fundamental thing of all? What if everything else is just made up of it?
Okay, so if the universe is really built from information, what's the blueprint? What are the instructions? Well, the theory proposes a kind of universal operating system, and it's all based on a surprisingly simple, repeating harmonic code. This code is called triune harmonic dynamics, and at its heart is this repeating 3-6-9 pattern. It's kind of like a fractal, a super simple rule for how things change, a process of becoming that can build up to create nearly infinite complexity. So let's break this code down real quick. The 3 is the first step. It represents simple linear change. A straight line, cause and effect. A leads to B. Then you get to 6. This is where things get more interesting. This represents 2-dimensional interactions, like a surface. This is where things can start connecting, forming networks and feedback loops. And finally, you have 9. This is the game changer. It represents 3-dimensional volumetric recursion. This is what allows the pattern to fold back on itself, to build upwards and outwards, creating real depth and structure that can scale up from the smallest things to the very largest. All right, so we have this 3-6-9 code of transformation, but what does it actually build? It's not just random chaos. The theory suggests this code generates a very specific orderly structure for the entire universe.
And the answer that informational physics gives us is pretty incredible. It says this code builds a universal structure that finally solves that scale disconnect we talked about, connecting the quantum world all the way up to the cosmic. It builds this, what the theory calls the 15-order informational coherence ladder. It's basically a series of rungs, or stable levels of complexity. And the theory predicts that at these specific points on the ladder, at order 3, order 6, order 9, and so on, information organizes itself into stable, complex structures. We're talking everything from atoms and molecules, to life itself, and even galaxies. Now, if a structure like this coherence ladder actually exists, it doesn't just add a few pages to the science textbooks. It forces us to completely rethink everything. We're talking about fundamental paradigm shifts in how we see reality.
Let's start with time. We usually think of it as a river, right? Just flowing forward at a constant rate. This new paradigm says, nope. Time is actually a modulated phase rate, kind of like the ticking of the universe's internal clock. And the speed of that tick is governed by the 3-6-9 code, meaning time can actually flow at different rates in different systems. And then there's life. Is it just a 1 in a trillion chemical accident on a lonely planet? This view suggests that life is actually a geometric necessity. It's what's supposed to happen when information gets complex enough to reach order 6 on that coherence ladder. Life isn't a fluke. It's practically baked into the code of the universe.
And as you can see here, the implications just keep expanding. It's a total rewrite. Our view of cosmology shifts from a big freeze death to a convergent cycle. Matter isn't just a particle, it's a harmonic wave. Even the vacuum of space isn't empty. It's a dynamic informational field. This theory literally redefines our most basic concepts.
Okay, I know, this all sounds incredibly mind-bending, but here comes the most important question you can ask of any new scientific idea. Can you test it? Because that's the line, right? The line between cool philosophy and actual science is a testable, falsifiable prediction.
And the answer is a resounding yes. The theory makes very clear, concrete predictions. For example, it predicts we should be able to find a triadic spectral signature everywhere, a kind of universal hum with peaks at frequencies related to 3, 6, and 9. If we can find that signature, it's huge evidence for the theory. If we look for it and it's not there, the theory's wrong. It's that straightforward.
And this isn't just on paper. The author has actually built open-source tools so anyone can explore these principles. There's a custom AI that's already successfully mapped this 369 pattern across hundreds of different scientific domains. There are even apps that are designed to read and write to this universal information field, kind of like a cosmic hard drive.
So we're left with this absolutely massive question. Could the mind-boggling complexity of our universe, everything from life to consciousness to the stars themselves, all emerge from one simple harmonic code? This theory of informational physics puts a testable, unified model on the table, and it challenges us to ask if maybe, just maybe, a simple 369 pattern is the blueprint for it all.